Love or hate it, you would be hard-pressed to deny that The Last of Us has become one of Sony's most prominent franchises ever since its debut in 2013 for the PS3. The triumphs and struggles of the dynamic duo Joel and Ellie in their roller coaster journey across post-apocalyptic America truly resonated with the gaming community across the world. So high was the rise of the popularity of the franchise that it received the privilege of adopting its own TV show that is now revered as one of the best video game adaptations in history. With the rumors circulating of the imminent announcement of the third game, why don't we take a look back on the controversial but arguably solid second chapter, The Last of Us Part 2. Let's not beat around the bush. We all know the leaks prior to the game's release that sparked the flames of intense backlash towards Naughty Dog on how the writing went down. Particularly, that one scene that ended the life of one of the most beloved characters in the franchise.
Please get up!
To be frank, I was part of the majority who were outraged on Joel's fate and believed that he deserved a better sound off than how it was implemented. But as my high emotions began to simmer down, I decided to give the game a fair chance, as underneath the terrible writing direction, it may yet to excel in other components. And here I am today to hopefully convince you that that is indeed the case. Set 5 years after the events of the first game, Joel and Ellie have resided in the fortified settlement in Jackson, the shelter that Joel's brother Tommy was found in Part 1. Unfortunately, while out in patrol, tragedy strikes and Ellie sets out with her friend Dina on the hunt for the perpetrators and exact retribution, paving the way to another journey across the infection-ridden Earth. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, the story could have been better written, and yes, the cheap subversion of expectations and the shallow theme of the vicious cycle of revenge still leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. But by being unable to look past this shortcoming, I truly believe that you are missing out on a title that excels in all other aspects of what makes a great game. For a last-gen game that is over 3 years old, it is tough to argue that The Last of Us Part 2 is still visually stunning compared to most other games recently released. From the character models and level design oozing with meticulous detail, to the vibrant lighting and particle effects that further add photorealistic visualization, to the motion-captured facial expressions and physics that are basically true to life. Indeed, The Last of Us Part 2's graphical fidelity still holds up, and even exceeds most other games in the market today. The same can be said with the audio, where the voice actors showcased their work spectacularly. Naughty Dog definitely did not spare any expense to present quality voice acting to breathe life into the characters.
Hey! This is a family event.
Sorry. Sorry.
Remember next time there's kids around.
Yeah, like you're setting such a great example.
Oh, just what this town needs. Another loudmouth dyke.
The fuck did you just say? Ellie,
Hey!
Ellie, don't.
Get the hell out of here.
Get your hands off me.
Hey! Enough.
Come on, you. Let's go for a walk.
What about them?
You worry about yourself.
Let's get you some fresh air.
You all right, kiddo?
What is wrong with you?
He had no right.
And you do? I don't need your fucking help, Joel.
Excellent voice acting, fused with tension-building music, realistic environmental sound effects, and creatively recorded sounds of the infected, create a strong immersion experience to ensure that players remain vigilant at all times.
Something wound him up! Light him up!
With eye-popping visuals and true-to-form sound design, the gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2 is just as robust and excellent, with significant improvements from that of the first game. Whether it is the stealth sections, adrenaline-racing combat, or simply immersing yourself through exploration, the sequel to this franchise will not disappoint. Similarly to the first game, Most of the enemies you will encounter come in groups, and will require you to approach them discreetly and take them down one at a time, as charging head-on will guarantee your demise. One of the drawbacks of the first game was that character movement and animation can feel a little stiff. Nothing immersion breaking, but this is definitely remedied in this second installment, as your character now moves more smoothly and feels more natural to control. A new prominent feature that has become a godsend is the ability to prone. I know that can sound quite shallow, but given the number of enemies you will be facing in combat, being able to hide below the grass is a tremendous boon in having the element of surprise to turn the tables. You may need to play the game to actually appreciate this, but believe me when I say this is a great help when engaging large groups of enemies, whether they are humans or the infected. Valuable resources remain scarce, and carefully scavenging every nook and cranny is a must if you are to survive in the dangers you will encounter. There are even areas that you may miss entirely if you do not search well enough that contain valuable loot such as additional weapon holsters.
They ran protection rackets. They took multiple wives. Great dudes.
Ugh, yikes.
Yeah. Goonie and Ghost would have loved this.
Skill trees have also been upgraded in The Last of Us Part 2. Unlike the first game where there's only one tree to upgrade with your supplements, this time around, by collecting various magazines scattered in the game, you have multiple branches to choose from, whether you would like to specialize in combat, crafting, or stealth, giving players more freedom to develop their character as they see fit, which is always a positive added feature. Upgrading weapons remains the same by collecting essential parts. You enhance your weapons in the workbench. The key difference from the first game is that you can now visibly see your weapon being upgraded right before your eyes. With that said, it is perhaps easier to show you in a clip rather than trying to articulate it. It is worth noting that this feature is so well received that it was borrowed by the latest PS5 remake of The Last of Us Part 1. Completionists, you would be pleased to know that collectibles such as trading cards, coins, logbooks are still present in the game that further enrich the game's post-apocalyptic setting, with what remains to be outstanding visuals, audio, and enhanced gameplay to date. I highly urge you to give The Last of Us Part 2 a spin. While it is true that Naughty Dog took a misstep in the writing for the new and old characters alike, I ask that you open your mind and try the game, especially that it is quite often on sale in the PlayStation Store for a very reasonable price. I sincerely believe that you are missing out on one of the best games ever made that only missed out on becoming a masterpiece due to an incorrect sequencing on how the story goes down. All other aspects of the game, I dare say, are top-notch and still holds up against many of the other recent releases in its genre. With the rumored potential sequel to be announced quite soon, now is the time to give The Last of Us Part 2 a chance, as underneath the surface lies a remarkable experience that I am confident that you will enjoy.